what the Pope had to say and demonstrate joy in listening to him and to his message.
50,000 pilgrims heard that message today at this, the religious centrepiece of an historic state visit. Fraser Maud, Sky News.
Well, we're at Oscott College, which is a seminary where young men become priests, and I'm joined now by 3 seminarians who are very excited this afternoon because they will have a family photo with His Holiness. Let me introduce Chris Ewell first of all. How long does it take to become a priest?
6 or 7 years, depending on the bishop's choice, because there's a preliminary year out in Spain in Valladolid, which a lot of bishops tend to send people on, and then 6 years in major seminary.
And what year are you on?
I'm in my first year here, but I did my year at Valladolid last year.
Is it good? Are you enjoying it? What do you get out of it?
Yeah, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. It's hard work, but I think the longer the journey's gone on, the more that, for me, I've realised that it is, what I feel for God's vocation for my life.
Peter Donnelly, why did you want to become a priest?
Well, it's a process that takes a while to come to the point of deciding that you want to be a priest, and that continues while you're in seminary. I think in this seminary context, we meet each other and we kind of help each other along our way of discernment in our friendship, where we can have free and frank discussions and get guidance with regards to our future.
Your future being things that you have to give up as well, because in a sense, celibacy we know about, it means you won't have a family of your own, you won't have close personal relationships with anybody who's there just for you. Are those difficult things to deal with, do you think, as you go through this process?
Well, I think anything valuable in life comes at a cost. And it is a cost, but also it is a gift as well, because celibacy gives us freedom to give all that we have to what we truly believe in, which is our vocation. It's possible that along the road we may decide that our vocation isn't to priesthood, but even in that case there's a vocation to marriage, which is another way in which people can give their all. And get the best out of life.
That's an interesting way of putting it, isn't it? Brendan Seary, there have been lots of polls, haven't there, in the last week or so about the fact that British people would accept non-celibate Catholic priests. I mean, it's something that must be very tricky for all of you to come to terms with.
It is, but as Chris has said earlier, I mean, we do have 6 or 7 years, so it's almost like a period of engagement. So I think during those 6 or 7 years, as Peter also said, you can decide, you pray, and through your talk with your spiritual director, you can come to the decision that your vocation isn't priesthood. So the 5 or 6 years, 6 or 7 years, it is a period for you to come to terms with that celibacy, and you are helped with the formation here at the college as well. So it all helps in your decision at the end when you're finally ordained priest to finally take that challenge of celibacy. So
today obviously was the day for the beatification of Cardinal Newman, who talked about his own really direct moment of calling.
Yes.
Did you have one of those, do you think?
I mean, I think I was a small boy when I used to play mass with Milky Bar buttons and Ribena juice. But I think, so all the way through I sort of had an idea of being a priest. But I think the big moment actually came when I was on pilgrimage with my secondary school to Lourdes in the south of France. And it was at that moment, decisions about university were coming up, and I decided, should I do law, should I become a barrister, whatever. So I was in front of the Blessed Sacrament as a sort of prayer service in Lourdes, and I asked, I prayed, do you want me to be a lawyer? And it felt good, but there was something missing. And then all of a sudden the idea of priest came back in, and my heart leapt. And at that moment, so I suppose in a similar way to Cardinal Newman, he had that one moment, but I think it was all the way through from sort of early childhood. So.
I love that, a prayer, do you want me to be a lawyer? That's absolutely brilliant. And what about today though? I mean, amazing day for you, the Pope coming here. Has it been weeks of excitement for you?
It has, yeah. There's been a lot of preparations going on, polishing everything that needs to be polished, and making the place look spick and span, and making ourselves look spick and span as well, as much as that is possible. So a lot of preparation, and it is a very exciting day. And I think the legacy of this day is something that we'll live with and treasure.
Well, the bishops are collecting in the chapel right behind you. The Pope will then join them, and then after that there will be a family photograph with the 250 seminarians of England, Scotland and Wales. You're the 30 who are based at Oscott College. Yes. Is that a photograph that will eventually be in the church wherever you minister?
I think definitely. I mean, it's a great privilege to have the Holy Father here with us, not only in our country, but to be in our home where we are now. And so, of course, it's something that we will treasure because it's not an opportunity that will present itself ever again to have a photo with the Pope here.
Well, Chris, Peter and Brendan, we wish you good luck with the rest of your studies, and thank you very much indeed. And we'll catch a glimpse of you a little bit later on when that family photo takes place. Certainly they've been very much looking forward to it. Well, the Pope has been taking time to greet people who've turned out to see him. We've seen that often. And these two ladies were lucky enough to meet him in person and were overwhelmed by the experience.
He walked up towards the barrier and put his hands out, and he shook some of the children's hands, and then he came towards me and put both of his hands towards me, and I held his hands, and I'm just I'm speechless. Such a privilege.
Well, I had my 2 rosaries in my hand. My husband asked me before I left this morning, could I ask the Pope to bless his rosary, and I didn't think for a minute I'd be able to, and had them in my hands, and he just put his hand over my hand over the rosaries. Just most wonderful.
Yes.
Couldn't have wished for anything better.
Well, great excitement from anybody who's managed to meet the Pope personally. One woman who has is Anne Widdecombe, who is still delighted from the fact that she touched the Pope's hands at Westminster Hall. Do you want to come in as well? Father Thomas Williams is joining us here as well. Alistair Bruce too. First of all, Alistair, for you, what was this morning like?
I think it just went so well. He was able to achieve what had been intended, the Holy Father beatifying now the Blessed John Henry Newman. And I think that it set the scene after such a fantastic moment for Birmingham to come here this afternoon. He's quietly taking a rest and preparing for the event this afternoon, which recreates history and takes us straight back to the restoration of the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church in 1850 and the extraordinarily powerful sermon given by the Blessed John Henry Newman in the pulpit, which the Pope will be beside, where he talked about the new spring, the second spring, bringing back Catholicism to Britain.